Hello, my name is Marcela. I am from University of São Paulo State in Brazil, and the title of my presentation is Tactile Stimulation Enhances Cognitive Performance in Nile tilapia. Tactile stimulation is a form of sensory enrichment. It can reduce stress in humans and other mammals. It also reduces stress in a marine fish that maintain a client-cleaner cooperation and reduces aggression in the territorial fish Nile tilapia. Other positive effects of tactile stimulation is increased memory capacity in adult rats that received this stimulation as newborns. Memory is part of cognitive ability of animals. We can understand cognition as the acquisition, storage, processing, and use of information. Tactile stimulation in fish can be used as a sensory enrichment that can promote welfare by raising serotonin levels and reducing stress levels. Adding structures to the environment can be a way to stimulate cognitive development. Enrichment can reduce stress levels, and by doing so, it can improve cognitive ability by improving adjustments to new conditions and learning. In this way, we tested the potential impact of tactile stimulation on cognitive performance of male Nile tilapia. Tactile stimulation is provided using an apparatus with silicone bristles that fish rub against as they swim past. Here you can see a view from above the fish tank with the fish crossing through the tactile stimulation apparatus, obtaining body tactile stimulation. Isolated fish were provided with tactile stimulation or control for 7 days, and then given a cognitive test. The cognitive test used was the detour-reaching test, where the fish needs to detour a barrier to find a reward, in this case, food. In the detour-reaching test, each fish had 25 trials divided in 5 groups of 5 trials each. We considered the fish learned if it detoured the barrier at least 4 times in a group. In phase 1 of this test, the learning phase, fish needed to learn to swim around an opaque barrier to find food. In phase 2, the inhibitory control phase, the opaque barrier was replaced by a transparent one, and fish should remember to detour the barrier rather than cross through it to find food. It measures the inhibitory control, as the fish need to inhibit the impulse of going directly to the reward. The phase 1 of the detour-reaching test measured fish's learning. We observed that more than 60% of fish in treatment with tactile stimulation achieved the learning criteria, and only 32% of fish in treatment without tactile stimulation achieved the criteria. The phase 2 measured the inhibitory control. We can see the proportion of fish that detoured the transparent barrier. We observed no difference between the treatments with and without stimulation in the 5 groups of trials, but we can see the proportion raised with time comparing the group 1 and the group 5 in both treatments with and without stimulation. Here we can see the time to detour the transparent barrier in phase 2. Fish from tactile stimulation treatment detoured faster than fish from treatment without tactile stimulation. And we also observed a lower latency to detour between the group 1 and group 5 of trials. Here we see the number of hits in the barrier, that are the errors made by the fish. The number of hits decreased from the second group in both treatments, and also decreased from group 1 to group 5 in treatments without and with tactile stimulation. In this study, we tested the effect of tactile stimulation on the cognitive ability of male Nile tilapia using the detour-reaching test. We observed effect on learning, but we did not observe effect on cognitive flexibility, that is, the capacity to change behavior to cope with new situations. In the phase 1, with the opaque barrier, we were able to measure learning. Fish with tactile stimulation learned more than fish without tactile stimulation. In phase 2, with the transparent barrier, we were able to measure learning and also inhibitory control. All fish in this phase detoured the barrier. It shows the effect of the phase 1 on inhibitory control and cognitive flexibility. Fish with tactile stimulation reduced the time to detour faster than fish without tactile stimulation, indicating effect of tactile stimulation in the process of learning. Improvement in cognitive capacity contributes to the increase of welfare. Tactile stimulation is a way to contribute to the increase of welfare. Although we observed the effect of tactile stimulation on fish, this effect was not so clear like we see in other mammals. But anyway, artificial tactile stimulation enhances cognitive performance, promoting benefits for fish as to other mammals. In conclusion, tactile stimulation improves fish's learning but has no effect on inhibitory control. Overall, tactile stimulation appears to enhance cognitive tasks related to learning and may promote welfare. Thank you so much for listening.